guest is a man whose story is rooted in resilience, faith, and transformation. Once a gifted athlete with dreams of becoming a professional runner, Rob Rene's life changed forever after a near-fatal accident in Utah. That moment sent him on a 25-year journey through corporate America, but it wasn't until the pandemic that he uncovered his true calling, exposing deception in the medical industry and pursuing natural, faith-based healing. Rob is now a frequency medicine specialist, founder of Exodus Strong, and the host of the I Am Pain-Free podcast. Through his groundbreaking work with herbal medicine, molecular hydrogen, and biblically inspired supplements like Exodus, Rob is helping people reclaim their health while deepening their spiritual walk. His mission is bold: to guide 1 million people to read the Bible daily while living healthier, more vibrant lives. Please welcome Rob Rene. How's it going, Rob?
I'm fantastic. Great intro. Well done.
I appreciate it. I think this platform is just about stories, man, and I like to give some visual story time as well as we dig into this. So
awesome.
Why don't you go and give everybody a little bit of a background about how you grew up and where you came from and all that good stuff.
Sounds great. My story kind of just starts when I was young and what I've really come to realize in the last few years is that God has had a plan for my entire life. And obviously, as you're going through it, that does sound cliche, but I really do honestly look back at my life and just look and say, oh my gosh, now I understand, right? Why he taught me to do this. And so one of the things when I was young, I was very athletic, right? I loved all types of sports. And I had two older brothers. I was the baby of the family. And so I always, tried everything and did all sports, and running just became the thing that I excelled at more than anything else. And God gave me a talent in running, obviously, but at the same point, my middle brother, I always followed what he did, and he was a runner. So I learned things that most kids my age didn't know how to do, right? How to train right and stuff like that. And one of the really impactful moments or periods of my life was reading a book about nutrition and how important that was to my running. And I know it sounds weird, but that really comes into play into my adult life. I learned that lesson to help me be a better runner. And man, it really did. When I was racing I was a distance runner. So when I was running against these other kids, I had nutrition in me that helped me fuel my body, and they're eating hot dogs and hamburgers and sodas, and they get towards the end of the race, and they didn't have that extra oomph, and I always did. They're just like always wondering, why is he always out kick us, right? I attribute that to one, I had good genetics, thank goodness, or thank the Lord, but at the same point, I think it was nutrition, right? It was really important, and so that was really helped me excel when I was young. And I for 10 years, I had a goal of being a professional runner. I thought that's where I was headed, right? I got a full ride scholarship to a Division I school, and I made the U.S. junior team, which is 19 years and younger. I was the second best miler in the country. And I was out at college in a training run in between seasons. And my entire life changed. I ended up getting hit by a 4x4 truck. My buddy was running behind me and jumped into the ditch. And I had enough time to turn around, and he yelled my name, and I turned around to see what he was doing, and I see this truck sliding right to me. And I had nowhere to go, nothing. I didn't have time to move. I just said, I'm going to get hit. And this 4x4 truck hit me in the hip and threw me 36 feet. And I just landed straight on my face, and then was just bloodied like crazy, cut open like crazy here, and then I hit my knees were next, and my knees were broken up, and my pelvis was broken up from the impact, and I was unconscious. So I'm laying on the side of the road unconscious and freezing because it was snow covered roads and ice covered roads, and lo and behold, I ended up having a bloody nose early in the run, which clogged my throat. So I'm laying there in a really bad situation. I'm unconscious and I'm not breathing because my throat's clogged. So if it wasn't for my friend to save my life that day by unclogging my throat, I literally would have perished. And so ever since then, I knew God had a plan for my life, and I just wasn't sure what it was for a really, really long time. I did get that, for a period of time, I was really depressed because I'd lost my entire goal in life. But with that mentor brother of mine, did well in school. So I was able to get a good degree, and I went into the corporate world. I did what the world tells you to do. The world tells you to get a degree at a large corporation, and you move up the ladder in the large corporation. You get your 401k, and you get married, and you have 3 children, and you have a house with a white picket fence, and you have a dog. And I did all of that, and I was pretty good at it. But at the same point, it just wasn't super duper fulfilling. I just was always doing, and never really stepped back and evaluated what was going on in the world. And man, when the pandemic hit, that's when my entire life really transformed. Because when the pandemic hit, I lost my sales job because I couldn't travel anymore. And so, as the first time in my life, I had time to sit back and look what was going on, and I started relying on that nutrition that I mentioned early in my life. I'm like, hey, I'm going to make sure my family's safe, so I'm going to start making sure we all eat healthy and we start getting the right nutrients in our bodies. And I initially thought, hey, I'm going to go create some supplements to help my family, and that's when I started doing the skill set that I just really want to implore to anybody and everybody is to have this skill set of research. And I really didn't have this skill set of research until the pandemic, when I was able to start doing research. And I uncovered how deceitful a lot of our information is. And that just blew me away. It really made me mad. I'm like, how is that possible that in the United States of America, our information could be controlled and our information could be censored? I saw in my mind, I'm like, that's only what North Korea, happens in North Korea, right? Not in the United States of America. So the more research I did, I just kept uncovering rabbit hole over under rabbit hole, right, or going down different rabbit holes, however you want to say it. And one of them was about the medical industry, and that started from when I was doing the research on those ingredients, right, on how to create a supplement. I was doing research on vitamin D, and I saw this doctor who was talking about the health of vitamin D and how healthy it was. And the government, or bad people, were suing him for billions of dollars. I was like, billions of dollars. And I said, this dude must be really bad, or vitamin D must be really bad. So let me do research. So I did that, that new skill I had, and I just started digging, right? Digging. And I did all the research I could do on vitamin D, and it's like natural from the sun, right?
Yep.
There's nothing I could find bad about vitamin D. Of course, you can overdo any supplement, right? And take way too much of something that's not good for you. But vitamin D in and of itself is just a God-given thing that comes from the sun. So I found, I just marked that one. It's like, okay, it's not vitamin D is the problem. Maybe this doctor is just a really evil dude, right? Maybe that's why they're suing him for billions of dollars. So I dug everything I could up about the doctor, and I couldn't find anything. It's like, he's a holistic practitioner who's trying to help people with their health and use natural and resources to help people. And I just got really frustrated because I'm like, I don't see, the bad. I don't see anything bad. And then I started saying, okay, well then why would they go after him? And that's when I just started uncovering the deception of what's going on in the healthcare world. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's opened up my world, right, to a whole new reality. And people call it big pharma now, right? They call it lots of different things, and I call it the medical cartel, just because they've really captured our medical system. And our doctors and nurses and the people actually in the industry are not bad at all, right? They really have hearts to help people. They're trying to do the right thing. Just the system is totally set up to specialize, and then also just about money, right? And if they can keep you sick, there's more money than actually healing you. So it's just the incentivization is just bass backwards. It's just wrong, right? So now I'm on a mission. I really, really want to help people, and I think that's why God put me on this earth, is to help people with their health in a healthy way, and then just educate them on what's happening, right? So that we can look at our bodies and help ourselves holistically, right? Instead of one of the I have that podcast that you mentioned, and I interview a lot of holistic practitioners. And it's amazing, I find out this information. It's just mind blowing. Like, the average senior is on 15 different prescription medications in a single year. So it's like, we just have a problem, right? We have a problem with not fixing the underlying core issue. If we can fix the underlying core issue, then all these other things go away, right? If you fix the original problem, you don't need the other 15 prescription medications. And so I'm just on fire to try to do that, right? I want to help people with my trials and tribulations, because I've had a number of them, and I want to make sure people learn from my story. And then I want to, all the things that I am learning, all that researching I'm doing, I don't want to just keep it for myself. I want to give it to everybody else so that they can make educated decisions on their health. And then as their, I call myself a faith and health warrior, because I really do have a during that research time, one of the things I did a lot of research on was the Bible. And that blew me away, because I was a Christian, but I was never I never was really, didn't have a relationship. So I really now feel I have a really strong relationship with God, and it's because I'm in the Bible every day. I've learned a lot about the Bible. I used to be really scared to talk about my faith because I just didn't know enough, and now I'm on fire. Right, I know a lot about the Bible, and I'm really comfortable in my faith, and I really want to help people. If I can help them with their health, regardless, then maybe they're open to have a conversation about faith. If not, no worries, right? I'm going to help you with your health regardless. But I really have a heart for helping people just holistically and naturally.
Yeah, I want to unpack a few things that you touched on.
Yeah, there's a lot we can talk about. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and you hit some very key things. One of the first things is you said that you wasn't on the path until you got there, and then you knew it, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a firm believer, right, that as we go through life, I've had lots. This is almost episode 300, I think, or something like that.
Awesome.
So
congratulations. That's awesome.
It's been around quite a long. I've had a lot of guests on. I've had a lot of psychics, mediums, and you hear some people and you pick and choose, and then there's things that they say that's really common, right?
Mhm.
And one of the things that they said to me was, we come on this earth and we already pick out our destination. We already know the people we're going to meet, the lessons we're supposed to learn, and all that stuff. But once we get here, we don't know that, right? So you go through these, and when you look at it this way, it really makes sense, because I thought I wanted to be a business owner.
Right.
That was my dream. I wanted to own my own company, my own business.
Right.
And I got out of the Army and I did that. Made more money than I've ever had in my life. And I was probably more miserable than I ever was in my life. Now I'm retired and I help veterans. I do this podcast and I make no money, and I'm more happier than I've ever been in my life.
Good for you. Not that I'm not cheering for the no money part. I'm just cheering that you're in their spot where you're happy, right? Because we don't need money, right? I love money, but at the same point, I don't need it, right? So I got to say that, I kind of restate that. I don't love money. I think money is a great tool, right? That you can use to help people with. But the love of money is obviously the root of all evil. So I don't love money, but at the same point, I love that you've gotten to that point where it's like, hey, those other things really don't matter, right? So what really matters is helping people, and you've obviously done a fantastic job at doing that.
Yeah, and again, I think it's because when you finally find that path that God wanted you on, that's when you're going to find the peace,
right?
And I'm not saying that means that you have to be poor. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is my path was podcasting. It led me to therapy for myself. It led me to a support group that helped me tremendously. It has gave me lifelines with a bunch of different people that I can connect with. Right. And since then, I have gotten to the point now where I can return that and have people come on and tell their story, that maybe them talking about their story helps them, or maybe their story helps somebody else.
Yeah. Good point.
And
very good point.
It's important that we look at it in that aspect, right? That's the reason why faith, regardless of what you believe in, whether it's God, Allah or whatever, you have to believe in something. That's one of the pillars of life, and one of the stepping stones you're going to need to heal if we're talking about mental health.
Yeah.
The other part I want to unpack a little bit is the big pharma side, right?
Yeah.
You were spot on when you said, the people in it aren't the bad guys.
Right.
You know,
Right.
their hands are tied. They don't have billions of dollars, so they can't just choose to use whatever medicines that they want or
right.
experiment in other researches. They have to go with what they're taught. They have to
And their hands are tied, right? There's a lot of things they just can't do that they'd want to do, they just can't do. So that's
absolutely.
yeah.
And that all comes from corporate, America. The pharmaceutical, the insurance companies, all of these are tied together. When you start really researching, the companies are umbrella companies and all that stuff. And when you get to the top of it, all of this is really decided by like 3 different companies.
That's right.
And
So accurate. Yep. Good job.
yeah.
I'm glad you've gotten to that period, point as well, because it takes a long time to figure that out, right? And then once you start doing that, it's like, oh wow, that's amazing. Our whole world is controlled, literally by a very small handful of people who just own trillions of dollars. And they're able to impact our lives in a very, very dramatic way, and they're really good at it too. I mean, the controlled information is just amazing how good they are. And I was a 100% victim of it. Right, I was so busy in my corporate life that I didn't research anything. I'd hear news in the morning on my way to work. Right, during work, I'd watch something on TV, or I'd hear something, maybe on my social media feed, and on the radio on the way back from work, I'm listening to something, and they're all parroting something similar. Right,
Mm-hmm.
It's never the same thing, but they're parroting something similar, and so you believe it's true just because you heard it 3 different ways, and you pick up the newspaper and you read it the 4th way. Right, the old days when you had a physical paper, but it's just it's really, really intriguing when you see how now it's even coming out. I learned about Mockingbird Media. Right, that was one of the early things one of the rabbit holes I went down. The CIA actually has assets in all the large media organizations, and then they put out these 4 a.m. talking points, and all everybody in those media organizations had to use those talking points. So you'd hear a news article about something, and it was all real similar. And then you just believe it's true because you've heard it 3 or 4 times. And when you realize that happened, it's amazing. Then it was supposed to have been canceled, but literally just a few weeks ago, our new FBI, is saying that the Project Mockingbird is still in play today. And it's clear. Once you can actually sit back and you see it, you just can't ever unsee it again. You're like, oh my gosh. Our information is so controlled. So, it's one of those things where, okay, now I know that I can't combat that because they're so good at it and have so much money. But at the same point, we can sit back and we can re-educate people, right? We can just at least expose them to some of that information. And then once people do see it, and I love that, now with the advent of like podcasts like yours, right? That small people like me can have a voice, and we can get information out there that used to not be able to happen, right? Because they controlled it so tightly, information, that the podcasting wasn't a thing. Right now, there's so many people that podcast that you can spread information that's good information and useful resources without them controlling it like they were able to in the past, right? So the advent of different social media platforms that aren't as controlled, but boy, the control of social media platforms like Facebook and YouTube and others was really, really evident during the pandemic, right? They were, and it's all coming out now how crazy the censorship was for people that had a different opinion. If you had a different opinion than the government, then you were just canceled, right? Literally, your accounts were shut, and your voice was nullified, and they only parroted the things that they wanted us to hear. So, it's intriguing things to learn, but I'm excited about the future. I think the whole "Make America Healthy Again" movement. I don't care what party you're a part of. I'm really excited about people's health, right? So just the awakening of what's going on in the healthcare industry is awesome, because I think it's happening at a much larger level than it ever has, and I believe we're going to help save millions of lives just by being able to educate people on their health in a open manner, and start getting back to the root cause. Let's get back to the root. If we can help people with the root cause of medicine, it's going to be a game changer. And it's been a game changer in my life, and it's going to be a game changer in a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, and Kennedy is bringing a lot of that good stuff on.
Yeah.
And the other part about this is, if you go back and you kind of look, right. I'm not saying it's conspiracy theory or nothing. It's just a fact that big companies lobby, and they want rules and laws put in place that's going to benefit them as a company. No different than the average person who wants laws and things passed that's going to help them, right?
Right.
The difference is, you look at the Obama administration, and the big focus was fixing healthcare, right? I think that big benefit was really payback for what the lobbyists have done for his career.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the only reason why I say that is because he had 8 years to fix the medical system, and he left it in shambles. It was never completed.
Yeah.
And so there had to be another reason behind why he never moved forward with anything.
Yeah, he made it worse by far. But
yeah.
no one really understands it, right? But now I think it's starting to come out, and it's just he's nefarious in a lot of different ways that I don't necessarily want to get into. But it's gonna come out, right? And it's gonna be exciting when it does, because it's just gonna open up a lot of people's eyes to the corruption that has been going on for decades in our country, right? That's what, when I first figured it out and researched it, and it really pissed me off. Really did. Like, this is really, really bad. But I love our country still, and I think most of America are awesome people, and we all want good. We just want to have a family, want to raise our children, and want to enjoy our lives, and we want to enjoy our neighbors. We just and most people are like that. There's really super good people, and so it just really makes you sick to your stomach when there's a handful of people that control so much, and they are nefarious, right? They're really trying to do depopulation and things that are just unbelievable, that you really can't fathom. It's like, how could a human being want that of other people? And so anyway, it's crazy. That's why I just figured, hey, I'm little me. What can I do? And that's why I've been just on a mission, right? I'm like, I'm going to create solutions that are going to help people. And I really want to educate them on the things that are detrimental to their health. And I want to at least expose them to things that can help them just start looking at root cause medicine, right? And so I'm meeting with all sorts of holistic practitioners and doctors who do that, right? Who really look at the body as a whole and say, hey, inflammation is the source of all disease. This is really one of the key things that they've all taught me. So we got to figure out where the inflammation is coming from. If you have a disease, then that was more than likely started from some inflammation somewhere within your body. So then how does that happen, right? So then you start unpacking that, and everybody's body is different. Everybody's situation is different. But man, when you can unpack the source of your underlying problems, and you can address the source, everything else starts falling in line, because God made our body so incredible that you cut yourself, guess what? It will start healing, right? God made our bodies to heal itself, and we just need to give it the right setup. We give it the right nutrients, the right information, and the right situation, and your body will do what God created it to do. So that's what I'm on a mission for. I want to just help people get there, right? And it's sometimes not easy. So, but it's super fun to try.
Well, that's a big part of it, right? So our food industry has, obviously they've got a big challenge of keeping food on people's tables for however many people that are just in America alone, let alone the world. And that becomes now an obsession of, okay, how do I maximize profits and minimize cost and all that good stuff. But the chemicals that are going into these foods are affecting us mentally.
In a
And
big way. Yeah.
yeah,
In a really big way. Yeah.
you made some very valid points. Like, for example, why is it that people don't know about what's going on? You found it by researching through the internet.
Yeah.
Well, it's because we've got so much information that is at our fingertips now, compared to, like you said, waiting for it to come out in the newspapers.
Yeah.
So now you can decide what is right, what's wrong by doing your own research.
That's right.
But then you've got to learn the algorithms and how the algorithms keep stuff from you,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and
So
it
true.
becomes complicated. And I think
It's
that's
not
what's
easy.
no, and I think that's what's benefited podcasting,
Yeah.
because people have gotten to the point where they don't trust what they see on TV anymore. They don't trust what they see in news headlines. Most people don't have the time, because of the way the economy is. You have to work nonstop to
Right.
try to make a
And
living.
both parents, have to work, right? If
Yeah,
you have a family, like this, the way that we've set our society up, it's like, both the man and the woman need to work, and who has time to do research, right? It's
yeah,
just you don't. I didn't, and that's, I think, it was a huge blessing to me, the pandemic, in the respect that I did lose this career that I had been doing for decades, and I loved it. I was good at it and enjoyed it. Made a lot of money, but man, I wasn't doing anything for
yeah,
society. I was only just doing things for me, right?
yeah,
And of course, me and my family. I wanted to try to take care of my family, but it was just like, now I look back on it, I'm like, man, what a selfish period in my life, right? It's like all I thought about was just making that extra money so I could buy that bigger house, I could buy that better car, I could do,
yeah,
day that vacation, I could do these things that at the end of the day really don't matter, right?
yeah,
And so, man, it's really fun now to get to the point where I'm like you, in the respect that I'm making way less money than I ever have in my entire life, but I am the happiest because I know that I'm making a difference in people's lives. So
yeah,
I'm working hard to do that, and the more that we can help other people, I think it's just going to snowball. And I love your podcast, right? That you tell stories and you tell to give people the platform to tell truth and tell stories like this, because when people start doing the research themselves, it's just you can't prove it wrong. I mean, you
yeah,
you might be able to, but guess what? If you start peeling the onion back, a lot of those resources that are proving these things wrong are controlled. So it's like, wow, I didn't know that I used to watch CNN all the time, right? And I had no clue how bad CNN was, right? And then it's like, oh
yeah,
my gosh, now I can't even watch Fox News because it's also bad. So it's just like,
yeah,
I just shake my head. It's like, wow, you have to really dig to find real good information and sources that you can trust, because there's, like, for example, just negative talk about Donald Trump, right? That was like 96% of the information about Donald Trump was negative information coming
yeah,
out of the mainstream media. And it's like, that's just impossible to try to get people who aren't aware, that are busy. They all think he's an evil, bombastic idiot, right? I mean, it's so many people that I know and love that are really smart people that just haven't peeled back the onion, right? To look at it and understand that was controlled information that they're receiving.
yeah,
It's not necessarily the truth. And so it's really, really fun once you start uncovering that. It's like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And some things are pretty wacky, right? That I don't believe. But you get to that point where, like you said, I think the best is you can start making up your own mind about things. So I look
yeah,
at things on both sides. I still do,
yeah,
right? And I say, hey, they're saying this, these people are saying that. They're probably both wrong, right? It's probably somewhere in the middle. So
yeah,
you start uncovering it. You're like, oh, okay, this is what I believe now. And my wife gets mad at me sometimes because she comes and tells me a story, and I'll say, oh, that's interesting, because I'm not going to believe her right off the bat, right? I was like, okay, I'll take in that information, but then I'm going to go check my resources and
yeah,
validate it. And then it's interesting how often, she's right a lot of the times, but at the same, because we're pretty equally yoked. But at the same point, it's just really funny how she can tell me something that's like way off base and just doesn't feel right. And I'll go research it, and then I bring back information to her, and she's like, oh, wow, that's interesting. I didn't
yeah,
realize that. So I just think that skill set is so important nowadays. And you're right, the information is easily accessible. What's funny though too is you look at the AI tools now, and I'm a
Yeah,
very big proponent of AI. I think
me too.
AI and AI automation is super fantastic for people and automations and businesses. I think it's going to transform our lives. It's for sure going to. But you start looking at some of the nefarious things that happen in our society, and guess what? This AI is trained on that massive amounts of information. So all those negative news articles about Donald Trump, for example, all the AI is trained on all that negative information, right?
Yep.
So you ask it certain questions, and it's going to give you whatever information it's trained on. So it's
Yep.
not necessarily the truth, which is I find fascinating when you start asking questions around politics and or religion even, right? And it's like you get this slanted view of the world. So I think Grok and other tools are a little better at being a little more agnostic. But man, some of the tools are just really, really, just flaming, restrictive on
Yeah.
certain topics. So anyway, just I'm getting going down a rabbit hole, but
No, you're absolutely right. Look, I honestly do believe it's like this. I think, your extreme left and your extreme right are both about 10% of the population. So there's
yeah, you're
20%
right.
of the
Yeah,
population.
yeah,
The other 80% is just like what me and you are talking about right now. They're in that middle and they believe a little bit on this side and they believe a little bit on that side. And when people ask me, I tell them, look, I'm politically homeless. I don't
right,
have a home on either side.
right.
My big preference is for veterans. So I tend to lie
There you
on
go.
who's going to take care of the veterans the most. That's personal to me.
That's awesome that you have that heart for veterans. That's so cool because they need it, right? It's like it's unbelievable how underserved they are. That's one of the things I like. He loves the veterans, and he's really trying to help them instead of
Yeah.
other people just like throw them under the rug, right? It's like, oh, we just we don't care about them. We don't care what they serve. It's like just so bass backwards. It's like, wow, we need to lift them up, and we need to take care of them because it's like the mental health issues, like you mentioned, is just so tragic, right? There's so many people that are just down and out and frustrated, and they didn't get the resources they need, and they didn't get the mental health care that they need. And that's why I have a heart for them as well, right? It's just I'm glad that there's people like you that you've dedicated your life, right, to helping them, which is super cool. And I'm dedicating my life to help people with their health and their faith. And I'm just going to cross all walks of life. And I'm
Yeah.
hoping at the end of the day, I'm hoping I can make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a guest on here and maybe you can agree or disagree with this, right? I personally am not very nutritionally educated, right?
Right.
And
Right.
I asked this guy, I said, in the walks of life of everybody that's out there and they're so busy, they're trying to figure out how do I eat right, but still keep my schedule up that I'm running. And
Yeah.
nobody has that time to read labels and all that stuff. And he said, look, when you go grocery shopping, it is super simple. He said, if you're buying your food on the outer edge of the supermarket, whatever it is, Walmart or whatever, if you're buying it on the far outside lanes, the very back and towards the front, guess what? You're buying the healthy food. It's when you start walking up and down the aisles that you start getting all the box processed type food. And I never really thought about it like that.
Right.
But
Right.
if you think about this, your natural breads are in your bakeries, your produce is against the wall, your delis and meat departments are usually in the back. The dairy is usually on your left all the way into the back. And it's once you start going through the middles that you start picking up the chips, the cookies, the box macaroni and cheese, the hamburger helpers, and all of these things that affect you negatively. You
Right.
think you're just, hey, it's just food. I'm tastes good and it's fast. But the long-term effects, I really do credit some of that to our mental health problems that we have, our disease issues, the inflammation that you were just talking about. All
Yeah.
of that comes from processed type foods.
Yeah, we literally are what we eat, right? I mean,
Yeah.
literally. I mean, not figuratively, but we are what what you actually put in your mouth literally becomes you.
Yeah.
What's really bad is not only is our food supply totally tainted, 70% of our food right now is ultra processed food. So
Hmm.
it's just the nutrients are nowhere near what you need to survive. And so it will, if you continue to eat ultra processed food, your body's going to not lack the nutrients it needs, and it's going to have issues and have problems. Which
Yeah.
and then even, the bad thing is our air is compromised and our water is compromised too. So it's like it's really really difficult to make an educated decision about your nutrition. So yes, that I do 100% agree with you on that topic about where healthier foods are, but at the same point, even a lot of that is not healthy. And so I think it's really important for people to just understand what your body needs. Everybody needs about 90 some nutrients every single day. And you're not going to get them in the foods that you eat and most of the time. And so that's where I've come to understand now, especially with the health issues that I've been going through, is that you need to supplement in order to help your body get the nutrients that it does need. I try to do as many nutrients as I can through the food I'm getting, but there's like even the soil is being depleted, right? So you
Yeah.
go eat an apple, and the apple is a good apple, but guess what? That apple may have had glyphosate, strewn on it, and or the soil that apple was grown in is deficient of nutrients. And so it looks like an apple, it looks almost the same. It actually looks a little bit different, you'll see. But when you get an organic apple that comes from really good nutrient rich soil, it's a game changer, right? It has so much more of the natural nutrients that you need than the GMO version, and or the one that's been sprayed with the chemicals that are literally killing us and causing
Yeah.
that inflammation and stuff. So I have that nutrition is so impactful, and then genetics is super fun now. I'm learning about, geez, even if your genetic disposition, like you have a different genetic makeup than I do, and so your body may process those nutrients different than the way my body processes it. So it's a really fascinating to learn that, like, oh, okay, guess what? If we both ate the same thing, that may not help us, right? So I could say we could both have the same health issue, but the way to treat that health issue may be different because of your body makeup versus my body makeup. When you start realizing that, then you're like, oh my gosh, and you can do these DNA testing, and the DNA testing can tell you how your body will process certain nutrients. And you're like, okay, I could eat vitamin D all day long and it's never going to be processed because of my genetic makeup. That's just one small example. So you have to do it in a different way. To get the vitamin D, you have to do a process to get the right nutrients in your body. So it's fascinating to learn. It is sometimes very complicated, but you're right. The everyday person is just not going to care, and they're going to go through the fast food line. They're going to continue to eat the ultra processed food, and they're going to get sick, right? And it's going to cause a big problem. So part of that education is helping people understand that nutrition is super important. But then guess what? If we can just help you understand some basics, and that's why I love to tell people there's 5 things you can do that's 100% free, right? I've got some amazing health solutions that you can buy, and we'll talk about those because I think they're important. But there's 5 things you can do that's 100% free. So do these and start doing that, right? And the first one is just water, getting enough water. Most people are dehydrated and they don't realize they're dehydrated, right? So go get enough water. I'm about 200 pounds, so I need about 100 ounces of water. So just do that, half your weight, and make sure you get a number of those ounces every single day in your body. And that's going to help, just that in and of itself. And then these next 3 are fun because they all you can combine all of them. One is that vitamin D I talked about. Get out there and get sun on your body. It's really, really important and really helpful for your body. And especially the first 45 minutes of the day, it's called blue light. And there's no ultraviolet rays in that first 45 minutes. So you're not going to get sunburnt. It's not bad for your skin at all. It's very, very healthy. And then I always combine that with 2 other things. So I do that night I take off my socks and shoes and I get my feet on the ground, on God's given earth. It's called grounding.
Yep.
It's just something I used to laugh at. My wife told me about grounding, and I was like, "Oh, come on, give me a break." I had really sensitive feet, and she's got these feet that she can walk on rocks, right, and be fine. But I had really sensitive feet, so I didn't like to do grounding. And then I started researching the benefits of grounding. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's I can sell you a $5,000 mat that will help you ground on your desk, or you can do it 100% free. Same exact thing, same benefit. If you just take your socks and shoes off, you get your feet on God's given earth, and it discharges negative energy that's in your body and recharges you with healthy energy. And it's proven. It's like it's irrefutable. So you get the vitamin D by being outside. You ground while you're doing it, and then I combine it with breathing techniques. And that's 3 things you can do all at the same time, very short period of time. And it's proven that if you do some of these breathing techniques, just deep breaths and then blowing out, and they could do it in a rhythmic way. There's a method called Wim Hof, WIMHOFF. If you look him up, he's got all sorts of different breathing techniques, but it's literally proven that it can add 7 years of to your life just by doing these breathing. Spend 7 minutes every day doing this breathing, and it's going to add years to your life. So why would you not do that? Right. And we all can breathe. If you breathe, you woke up today and you have breath in your lungs, God still has a plan for your life. That's a message I want everybody to understand, right? He does have a plan. You're breathing today, and he has a plan for your life. So if you do, there's 4 things I just mentioned, right? It's the getting enough water, you get the vitamin D in your body, you get the grounding effects, and then you breathe correctly, and the 100% free. And then the 5th one is just nutrition, right? Just understanding that your body needs 90 some nutrients every single day, and try to figure out ways where you can get those nutrients as naturally as possible. If you can get them through your food, fantastic, right? But it is really, really hard to do. So you need to probably supplement some of those things that your body's deficient in. And that's where I come in. And that's the things I'm trying to do is help people say, hey, instead of buying 55 pills, let's get you one pill that gives you a lot of things that you need. And then you don't have to buy 55 pills. All right. And you don't have to supplement with a whole bunch of different things. And so that's where my business comes in. I was like, hey, do these first 5 things. And nutrition, if you just eat healthy organic foods and you try to get as close to the farm as possible is super important. Because like you mentioned, just the chemicals and the microplastics that are in our food is killing people, and not killing small numbers of people. It's really, really big. And if you want to go down another rabbit hole, look at the food industry and where all the scientists came from in the food industry at the beginning of the Cold War. And you'll see that they were brought over in the Operation Paperclip, I believe it is. And so when you start researching that, it's going to blow your mind. And you're going to see that a lot of the actual foods that have been manufactured the last few decades has been designed to be addictive and have no nutritional value, right? So we get all this addictive food that's great, tastes great, but guess what? It's causing serious health issues. And guess what? I'm 100% a byproduct of that. Right. I am going through health issues right now, and I attribute it to a lot of that ultra processed food that I ate for decades because I didn't pay attention to it. I just was doing my job. I was eating great food, right? Healthy food I thought was healthy, but it ends up being a lot of it's nutrient deficient, and then a lot of ultra processed food. And then I got to the point where, hey, I go through McDonald's for an egg McMuffin in the morning, and then lunch you're busy, so you drive through and you get Chick-fil-A, or something. And my gosh, you look at how bad the ultra processed foods are in those, and it's people are killing themselves, and you're not meaning to. It's just anyway. So I'm on a big kick for getting people to understand that nutritional aspect of the life, because when you can start being a little bit more meaningful on getting the right nutrients that you need inside the body, you start fixing those root cause problems. You can start fixing those root cause problems, and guess what? All those other things that you have start going away. So that's it's fascinating.
Yeah, no, I agree. Another thing that I'm interested in, because I do believe it is the right direction for America, is regenerative farming.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
I get that it's going to cut back your scale of how much food you're going to make and everything else, but it would put the farms back into the farmers. It would make more people want to be farmers because now it's no longer in the business's hands anymore, and the food is going to be much more healthy for you. Um, I want to dig into a little bit into your company. So let's start with the name Exodus Strong. Where did that come from?
Yeah, literally, it was as I was doing this research on the Bible. Right, I was reading the Bible every day, and I was researching nutrition. I just naturally went to the Bible for what's in the Bible. What does the Bible say about food?
Hmm.
There's the Daniel diet. And there's all these different types of diets that are biblically based, and so I was researching all those. And there's some really awesome nutrients that are mentioned in the Bible. And I was just praying, like, Lord, help me find something that is just unbelievable, right? That can really change people's lives in a dramatic way. And I found some awesome ingredients that came from the Bible, at least mentioned in the Bible. And but I couldn't find a combination that wasn't already out in the marketplace, right? So I'm
Hmm.
like, well, there's frankincense out there, there's myrrh out there, there's saffron out there, and I was just like, what is it? And God is good. He literally led me to a practitioner in California who had this molecular hydrogen blend. And the molecular hydrogen blend, when I did research on what it does, hydrogen is, God made again. It's like literally the base element in our periodic table, right? It's the smallest element in the world. But hydrogen, when you look at it, and you can look at the research that's been done on molecular hydrogen and get it inside your bloodstream, it does amazing work. It acts as a master antioxidant. So it'll go through your bloodstream and it'll get rid of the free radicals, the bad stuff, right? The stuff that's not supposed to be there, and it gets rid of it. And then it helps the mitochondrial process work more efficiently. So your blood, your energy system is made up of comes from your mitochondrial process. So if your mitochondrial struggling, then guess what? You're going to be struggling. But if you get your mitochondrial process working efficiently, you're going to have more energy. So he was talking to me about this molecular hydrogen blend, and I was like, wow, what? And he wanted to market his product in a biblical way, and I was looking at all these biblical ingredients, and I was like, let's take these molecular hydrogen. Let's take the 7 best complementary ingredients from the Bible that enhance all the things that molecular hydrogen does. And then the cool thing about it is the nutrients that we chose specifically for this product help the molecular hydrogen do what it does better, but then also the reverse. The molecular hydrogen really enhances the 7 biblical ingredients that we chose. So we chose these 7 biblical ingredients, and it all comes down to that thing we talked about earlier, right? What are we deficient in? Most of us are deficient in the right nutrients. So we did barley grass and wheatgrass, which are just elemental in our body's nutrition, and it really helps with a lot of lacking nutrition that people have. So if you, instead of doing the green shake that you have to do, and it takes an hour to make up your green shake every day and drink it, you can use it with our capsules. You get the nutrients, a lot of the nutrients your body needs, right? With our capsule, with just barley grass and wheatgrass. And then we added saffron, and saffron is amazing. In fact, a lot of the people that you work with, are really going to love saffron because it helps with stress and mood, right? So it really helps people who are struggling, having a difficult time. Saffron is literally the most expensive. It's more expensive than gold. Is how important saffron is. So that's an important element in our product. And then we took cumin, which cumin and then also aloe. Aloe's got a lot of hundreds of health benefits. Aloe helps with gut health, right? And that gut health is where those doctors I was telling you about earlier, they have been teaching me that your health starts in your gut. If you can get your gut healthy, then guess what? Your kidneys start working right. Your liver starts working right. But it all starts in your gut. So your gut health is really important. And then we've got that cumin, frankincense, and myrrh are the other ingredients to round out the 7, and those really help with inflammation response. So again, that thing we talked about earlier, if you can help reduce that, then guess what? Your body's going to start functioning the way it's supposed to. So, and then you add in the molecular hydrogen component, And what it does, and it's just unbelievable. The product is unlike any other product in the marketplace. If you, it helps with energy in a very short period of time. My brother is a minister, and he was researching the Bible a lot, and he would just get exhausted and tired and fall asleep basically in the afternoon when he's doing his Bible studies, getting ready for his sermons and stuff. And then I have a condition called bradycardia. It's a slow beating heart. And that heart rate was my heart rate was in the 30s, and I would get exhausted about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'd have to go take a nap, and it just got really frustrating. I'm like, man, I'm in my 50s. There's no reason I have to go take a nap. This is stupid. But then when I started taking Exodus, or this product that we created, it's so awesome because I have that afternoon crash anymore. It just gives me sustained energy. It's not a spike like caffeine does, and then you crash. It just gives you nice sustained energy. And the same thing happened to my brother. He takes 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, and he's golden for the rest of the day. So that's been really fun and transformational in people's lives. If you can get on this product for an extended period of time, you get it on for 30, 60, 90 days, that blood in your body is going to start recycling, and it's going to recycle with healthy blood, right? So it's going to get rid of those free radicals, and then your blood does recycle over time. And so it's just, it'll help you really quickly with your energy levels, but that's just one little tiny thing that it's going to do. It's going to do so much more if you're smart with it and you extend it over a period of time. So I'm having a blast teaching people how to do that. And we really believe in the whole mind, body, spirit connection, because I'm a believer. I believe that God can do a lot of things. So I want to honor that. So we include a prayer guide that goes with every single product, because we have what's called an intention. You're stating your intention with your mouth out loud. You're reading a Bible verse, and then you're saying a prayer. So you're using the power of the tongue, which there in the Bible it specifically says there's power in your tongue. So use it, and then you're using your eyes to read it and your ears to hear yourself say it. And then you're taking the capsule. So you're using the capsule for the inside of your body, and then you're using your mind and your eyes and your ears, and you're speaking it out loud, and you're using mind, body, spirit connection to help you with your health. And I think there's no other company I know in the world that's doing this. It's like really trying to combine all three, because when you do combine all three, it's unbelievable how the stories we're getting back from people are really, really fun, because it's transforming their health. And it's just really neat to see. It's like, hey, something I have helped create is really having a transformational impact on people's lives. And that's what I'm totally interested in doing. Is I'm not necessarily interested in selling a product just so I can make money. I really want to make an impact on this world. So everything that I'm doing, I'm trying to build a kingdom business. And what that means to me is I'm not building it for me. I'm building it to help other people. And if I can do that, if I can build a kingdom business and I can have a bigger kingdom business, I can have a bigger impact in the world, because I can have other resources that I wouldn't typically have right now that I want to help other people with. Right. So that's my heart, is to have that impact. And I want to get people into the word. That's why we have that prayer guide that goes, because what's fun is people will read that little prayer guide and they're like, I wasn't aware that particular verse was in the Bible. That's interesting. Let me go look and see what's in the Bible. And then you start reading the context around that verse. And it's actually really intriguing when you start digging into the word, how intricate the word is. And there's so much you can unpack. I mean, Bible scholars have been studying the Bible for 30, 40, 50 years, and they still haven't figured it out, right? It's that complex. But at the same point, I believe it's the living word, and that he's leading me as I'm reading it. The Holy Spirit and God are leading me in my life. So, those gifts that I want to give to other people.
Yeah, no, I mean, that makes perfect sense. And again, I think that's the benefit of podcasting and small businesses like this, because the founders are passionate about it.
Yeah.
I mean, other than Joe Rogan and maybe another amount of people that you can fit on one hand, podcast for a living.
Right.
The rest of us podcast out of love for the topics that we're talking about.
True.
Right.
So true.
And I think that's another reason why I think more people are starting to take more interest into their health. They are looking for alternative resource options, i.e. podcasts and other items. And everything used in excess is good. You can use too much AI. You can follow one podcast too much and not get a variety of other alternative opinions.
Right.
And as long as you keep everything balanced,
Right.
you've got the perfect items to figure out just about any problem out there.
True. Yeah, it's funny. Like you could die by drinking water, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You could
you
drink too much
absolutely can.
water and kill yourself. It's like it just doesn't make sense. So just have that understanding that's moderation is key. But I think it's moderations can still kill you if you're doing the wrong things, right? So if you're doing
Absolutely.
ultra processed foods, it's just not healthy for you. You just have to
Yep.
understand that. Our whole pyramid that they taught us when we were in school is just ridiculous. It's literally it's upside down. And so you need to understand that fats and healthy fats are really good for you, right? And they taught us that fats are horrible for you, right? And that you need to have all these carbohydrates and this bread and this sugar, and it's just like, what the heck? It's just unbelievable how bad our triangle was, right? And so when you
Yeah.
start realizing how your body's made up of and the things that it needs those nutrients from those other tools, and healthy fats are just critical to your health, right? So once you start realizing that, you can really transform people's lives really quickly, if they really realize it, and then have a desire to make a change. Great, right? I can help you make a change, and I can get you really healthy. And I'm not actually doing it, right? I'm working with a whole set of practitioners that, hey, you have this problem, you go see this person. You have this problem, go see this person. That's what I really want to be, as a conduit for
Mhm.
people. And I'm building a whole community, right? I want to build this community, calling it Biohackingville. And I'm building this community because I'm really interested in the human body and how we can do it naturally to make it better, right? I love the red light therapy. I love cold plunging. I love all the things that are biohacking, but I think you can overdo all of those as well, right? But
Yep.
if you start and get educating yourself on it, and you start educating yourself on regenerative soil, then guess what? Maybe you find a farm that has regenerative soil, and you get your beef and get your vegetables from that farm, and guess what? Your health is going to improve dramatically just because you made that one simple change. And so
Yep.
I just want to give people resources. Like, hey, when they go to Biohackingville, they're going to find those resources that are available to you. And then guess what? We're going to have an integrative oncology component, because I'm interviewing a lot of holistic cancer doctors. Cancer is going through the roof right now, and I'm working on a personal journey that is related to that. So, and I'm making a huge transformation in my life, and I'm excited about that. And I'm looking super forward to teach, just shouting it to the world of what I did, because what I believe is I'm doing to my body is transformational for my body, and that I believe if I can make that transformation, anybody can do it. And so I want to teach people what I did, and why I did it, and how you can do it too, and how you can just transform your body from a cancer producing vehicle to a cancer killing machine, and then get yourself well, right? I want to get people well, and I want to do it with as little big pharma drugs as possible. But there is a good mix, right? You can't just do everything natural, and you can't do everything big pharma, right? So you got to look and find the things that aren't as bad for you in the big pharma world, and the things that are really good for you. And then you need to find the mix of the right nutrients your body needs, and how to do these certain holistic treatments that are really beneficial to the body. And when you can marry those two together, it's so exciting to see the transformation it's making in people's lives. And then
Yeah.
they can say, oh, okay, so I don't have to give up everything. I can give up just some of those, and I can start adding these, and it's going to make a difference in your life. And it's yes, you can, right? You don't have to just all of a sudden, do everything at once. You can do baby steps, but if you start those baby steps, and you're going to start making some really, like those 5 things I mentioned, maybe don't do all 5 of them at once. Try one, right? Try one for a couple of weeks. Just get enough water in your diet for the next week. And then you're going to start seeing that you feel better, And you're going to say, oh, well, okay, let's see if I can add one or two more of those other things. And then you're going to start seeing a change and you're going to say, this is amazing. I'm going to start doing this more. And then it becomes addictive, right? And it becomes so exciting that you feel so much better. You have so much more energy. You're excited to do things. And that's really what I'm at the heart of what I'm trying to do is there's so many people that are sick. And guess what? When you're sick, you sit on the couch, right? You don't want to do anything. You want to Netflix and chill all day long.
Yep.
You don't want to make an impact on this world. And when you're healthy and you're vibrant and you're active, guess what? You're going to go talk to that neighbor that you maybe didn't want to talk to, or you want to go play with the grandchildren that you want to go play with, but you just don't feel well. So you don't, right? Let's get out there and do those things, right? Let's make a positive impact on people's lives. Let's get off the couch and let's get healthy and let's go make an impact on the world together.
Yeah. I think the other awesome part about this is the fact that you do podcasts.
Yeah.
And I can almost guarantee people that listen to that, they're getting something that they don't realize that's even more important than just the information itself. It's you are learning what affects your body, and in return, you get to learn what your body is telling you. So then when you start feeling a certain way, you can say, oh, I know why my body's doing this. It's because it needs this.
Right.
And you can start learning that language that we have lost between our body and our needs, because we just rely on, I'm going to go eat a whole bunch of hot wings and then I'm going to take a whole bunch of antacids to counteract the problem that came from the other friend. Why not just fix the source?
That's right. That's right. And they make it really, really hard, right? I mean, it's unbelievable how many fast food, restaurants there are, and our life is so busy that you need to go. Sometimes you don't have time to do anything else other than go to a fast food restaurant. But it's just like, it's just I find myself so frustrated when I get to that point where I didn't prepare my lunch or prepare my meal, and I now have to go do something, and I'm starving. So I go eat something that's just bad for me. But it's just like I try to minimize those now, right, to as low of times as possible, so that I can just continue to do things that are healthy. It's like I eat more salads than I ever thought possible, and I hated salads, right? I just like, oh come on, it's like eating grass, and now I was like, oh my gosh, I actually built a company that has wheatgrass as part of the solution. It's because it's so helpful, right? There's so many nutrients that are part of it. Like a lot of people that are going through holistic cancer programs, right? One of the things they make them do is do juicing with wheatgrass, because wheatgrass is so transformational in your health. But hey, you don't need to do that. You just use Exodus, right? Our product, and it can really help you with a lot of things. So
there you go. Well, Rob, I'm gonna bring you forward, man, and let you tell the world where they can find you and where they can follow you at all your socials and all that good stuff.
Sounds great. I appreciate it. ExodusStrong.com, right, is where we have that amazing product, right? That's the solution that's really built with 7 biblical ingredients, and it's got that molecular hydrogen blend, and the combination of those two is just, there's no other product on the market. And so it's much more than any other supplement that's out there. It's so really helpful. And it's kind of a base product. I work with nutritionists and DNA specialists who use our product as the core. Every time they treat somebody, they use Exodus as the core, and then they start narrowing in based upon their genetics how they can help them extra. But Exodus is such an amazing product, they use it as the core. So that's really important. And I'm creating this community that I'd love to invite you to. It's biohackingville.com, right? It's going to be a community of people there that are interested in health. If you're interested in a specific biohacking topic, there's going to be conversations about that, right? You're interested in nutrition, there's going to be places to talk about nutrition there. You're going to have resources there. We're going to have a lot of the interviews that I'm doing. I'm renaming my podcast from I Am Pain Free to Biohackingville Podcast, because I'm going to be interviewing all these people who are helping people holistically and naturally, and we're going to have it in there. And then we even have a faith community that's going to be a part of that community. That's that if you're interested in any faith discussion, you can go there, but you don't have to do any of that, right? Anything that you're interested in, there's going to be stuff there for you. So biohackingville.com is going to be super awesome. It's going to have a newsletter that's associated with it, and the podcast that I mentioned that's associated with it, and then the community. And I'm just there to help people, right? We want to have resources that are free for people, and we want to give a lot of that information away. We want to just get people well, right? And of course, if you want other products and other things, we'll probably have them there, but nothing is required, right? So they're there for your information. And I'm just, again, my whole heart is to help people with their faith and their health. In fact, one of the things I would love to do is just, if you want to try a travel pack of Exodus, it's these little travel packs. And here's one that's actually just opened. I just used some earlier today. These little travel packs. It's got 6 capsules in it, maybe 3 days worth. And if you just go to exodusstrong.com/free, you can just send me a self-addressed stamped envelope, and I'll send you a pack for free. If you want to buy a couple of them, it's less than $10. You can buy a handful of them to start trying. Because I think once you start trying it, you're going to say, oh, hey, this is actually good for me. And then you start reading about the health benefits of all of the components, and you're going to want to stay on this product for 30, 60, 90 days because it's going to transform your health. And then, you're going to be joining me in the stories in Biohackingville, and you're going to say, hey, guess what? I want to help my neighbor, and let's go help the world together.
All right. Well, Rob, I appreciate you coming on, man. I had a great conversation. I've learned quite a bit, and I think a lot of other people will too.
Good. I'm excited. Thanks for having me on, and I'm just excited you're doing what you're doing, and God bless you, my friend.
Thank you. Well, I hope all y'all enjoyed it. Don't forget, don't let the day kick y'all's ass. Kick the day's ass.